Hey friends, welcome back. And for those that are new, my name is Megan and welcome to Mustard Seed Homesteading. What I do on this channel is give weekly garden tours throughout the entire year. I live in growing zone 8B in Alabama, and right now I'm in the transition of finishing out my summer garden and then moving into the fall garden, and I want to show you all that I've been doing and what's been growing. Now, before we go back here and I show you all of the garden, I do want to go into the garage and show you all of my seed starts that I am getting ready for the fall garden, but I want to quickly encourage you right now as you're in the thick of your garden season, whether you're harvesting or transitioning to fall, it would be a perfect time to write out what it is that has worked and what hasn't worked in your garden, and then make some changes if you need to during the winter time to get ready for the spring and summer garden coming up next year. All right, friends, here are all of my seed starts. There is just a ton. You guys look at that lettuce. Isn't that gorgeous? And then I do have one back there with some Napa cabbage, and that's growing really good. Now, because we had a lot of hot days when I originally started some of my fall seeds, my garage got really hot even though I had the air conditioner on. Because I had to run the freeze dryer and the electricity can only handle so much in here, my power kept going off, so I had to turn the AC off for a while. And because I did that, some of the starts just didn't really do very well. So some of these, they hung on and they were fine, and I was able to separate them, but some of them you can see there's like little baby ones. I had to restart a few too, which is fine, not a big deal. But so far everything's looking really good. This lettuce is just like, I'm ready to be planted. So I'm hoping to plant those out soon. And then we have some of these. So a lot of this is just broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower. These right here are all kale, so these are doing really good. A lot of these made it just fine. And then we also have, I'm trying to think, lots of lettuce. I said cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower. I'm trying to remember everything I said. And then I have a lot of like little other things that I'm growing. Like this is a parsley, not the herb. It's Hamburg rooted parsley. It's almost like a little white carrot is what it looks like. So I'm starting those. And then I actually came over here and started a lot of my snap peas, and I'm so happy to see that most of these they germinated for me. Now I do want to mention these two right here were seed that I saved from spring, the Amish paste pea. Amish paste and the Oregon Giant over here are by far my favorite seeds, or my favorite snap peas. I grew these over the spring, you guys. They were the most delicious tasting snap peas I had ever tasted. So those were seed that I saved. These are doing really good. I will put these out in the garden on a couple of the trellises out there. And then I want to say some of these are kale, a new variety scarlet kale. There's a Pablo lettuce back there. I've never tried that before. And then I do have two different types of kohlrabi. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly in here. And then you guys, let me tell you what I did over here. So these are actually all bush green beans, and you can see a lot of them are germinating really nice. And the reason I did that, I had some rabbits, and they were beautiful rabbits, super cute, but they were eating some of my green bean plants for my green stalks. So I figured, and I've had some bug pressure. So what I did was I said, I'm just going to start some in the garage, so then that way I can plant them out in the next week or so that I can still get some green beans. So that's why I have those. And then hopefully I will put these out. Now these three varieties I've shared before are two, I think this is Jericho and this is Yittacule. This was a new one from Baker's Creek that I got at free when I made a purchase. And then this is my tried and true Paris Romaine. Love this stuff. Now I will mention, do you see how tall and stemmy this is? Typically when lettuce goes to seed, that's what happens. It will just get real tall as opposed to just growing from here out like this. But I tried one of the lettuces, and I'm not used to growing Jericho. It tasted fine. I might plant this just to plant it because it's there, or I might toss it, but either way I'm not without lettuce. There's a lot here. I do have a few down here too. And I also have some growing in the GREENSTALK already, so I should be fine. But I just want to give you an update on all the starts. They're doing really good. As I said, I was a little bit bummed because of the heat, but you know me, I don't give up and I keep growing and I keep trying. I also want to mention something here too. So I had put a bunch of seed in my GREENSTALK and I was growing kale. And what I did when I had to obviously put 1 kale per pocket, I took the rest out very gently. Let me see if I can lift this up so you can see. And I don't have any soil in here, but I do have water just to keep these going. You can see they look really beautiful. And then my goal this next week is to transition some of this into the garden. And I will show you the garden. You'll see what I mean. Some things I'm going to start pulling out. And then that way I can just start putting those in there and get some kale as well as all of those beautiful starts growing for the fall. And here's an update on the dwarf apple trees, you guys. Still nothing yet, but it hasn't died. So that's always a good thing. So I just want to make sure that I'm giving you updates on both of the dwarf apple trees. And here's the other one. It looks very pretty. I mean, green leaves and doesn't look like it's dying on me. So we'll see. I'm just going to give it time and try to be as patient as possible. Since I'm down here before we go back, this is what I meant. The rabbits came over, obviously because it's close to the ground, like the first 2 tiers, and they ate the leaves, the little boogers. So I did replant some seed in here. Everything else is doing really, really good. You can see all the flower buds there. They didn't reach that. And here's some of the lettuce I was telling you that I'm growing in the GREENSTALK. But yeah, so they chewed on them and I had to replant them. So I figured, you know what, let me try to do some in the garage, or start some in the garage, I mean, and see if that would help. And they also did it over there too. By the way, friends, I just want to quickly share with you all, I mowed the lawn myself this week and I'm very proud of myself. Not that I've never mowed before, but usually the hubby does it and he was just very busy with work. So I was trying to be a helpful wife and mow the lawn and trim. And I cannot tell you how much I actually enjoyed mowing and then trimming everything in there because it was a hot mess. And with the snakes and everything, I did not want to wait for him to have to mow the lawn. So I just went ahead and did it myself, but I'm so glad that I did and I just had to share. So I want to start over here before we go in there because I did just recently plant some seed potatoes in here as well as my GREENSTALKs. I actually just put a video out of me planting them in the GREENSTALKs, but these bags are new for me. You can tell they're much taller than most grow bags. They're meant for potatoes, although I think they would be also very good to grow tomato plants just because you can plant tomato plants really deep. And we already have some poking through the soil, but I just wanted to show this to you and I will be giving updates on this weekly on the garden tours. And then this one, I decided not to plant anything this year. I'm just going to wait until springtime. I do love how I have this set up. And while this wasn't too bad during the spring, I wasn't super thrilled with the harvest from this, but I am looking forward to trying it again come springtime. All right, here is the lovely, lush and dying garden. So just to give an update, I don't really talk much about the grapevines, but they're still doing okay. I don't see any grapes. I just bought these this year, so I'm not really sure if they need to get established a little bit more, but they haven't died, so that's always a good sign. Now let's go ahead and harvest whatever we can from the 2 pepper beds real quick. By the way, guys, isn't that gorgeous? I'm loving the zinnias that I have this year. Bunch of different colors and they're so pretty. All right, so we do have quite a bit of peppers still. I've been very grateful to get the amount of peppers that we have been getting, and some of them, you guys, I have been freeze drying because we've had such an abundance, and I figured if I could just freeze dry them, then I can use them in meals come this winter and fall time. Sweet banana has been really nice, you guys. I have been very grateful to get a lot of these. I'm not going to harvest all of them, but I'll get a few and let some of the other ones grow. Now this pepper is the Milena F1 and I feel like I've got a pretty good consistency of these this year. So I will harvest this one, and then I do have, oh, hold on a second. I may not have another one because I see, yep, see, look at that. It happens, it's fine. We're going to move on and we're going to throw it away. All of these mushroom peppers are so fun. So I actually was eating one last night. When I tell you that is one of the most sweetest peppers I've ever eaten, this is not only fun to look at and see it grow, but it tastes really good. So I just wanted to share that with you. I don't have any to harvest. I might over there, but these are really delicious. Look, friends, we got a Cali Wonder. I'll leave that other one to grow, and then I think there's another one right there too. I have been getting a lot of bell peppers this year, and I'm very happy. We do have a lot of peppers, but they're not ready yet, so hopefully we'll have a lot more to harvest. Let me see if we have any more. All right, we do have some Hungarian. I actually just found some of those red squash bugs, and they all came off because it fell off. Otherwise, I would have showed you, but oh my goodness, I'm glad I caught these in time. All right, let's go take a look at this pepper bed real quick. I do want to continue to give you updates on this little Tabasco pepper. Look at how cute these are. Hopefully I'll be able to harvest a good amount of this before it gets too cold. I don't know, I think these do have to be red, I do know that. So hopefully they'll start turning color soon. But I have 2 plants of these, and then let me see, we got another pepper right here. So I do have a lot of Santa Fe Grande. These are a hot pepper. I'm gonna go ahead and harvest these off the plant real quick. And we have another Anaheim chili. That's exciting. I really enjoyed these peppers this year too. All right, something I'm very excited to show you all is look at all of those cayenne. So these are the red cayenne peppers, and I'm hoping that we'll get a bunch of these. Last year I didn't get nearly as many as I was hoping, but you guys, look at all those peppers. So hopefully these will turn red soon. And there's some serranos. I can always count on these for sure. I feel like they always do well for me every year. What I thought was mulatto isleno, I'm still kind of chuckling about that, you guys, because that's what I thought they were. This is probably more than likely the shishito, because I was kind of like, when they were growing, I was kind of like, these look like shishitos. So that's probably what they are. And I probably never even, I don't know, maybe the seeds got mixed up. I know last year I felt like the seeds got mixed up when I was planting seeds. Like for instance, maybe the packet I got was not the right seed, like it got mixed up before it was sent to me, because I do a pretty good job of labeling, and even last year was a bit confusing, and I'm kind of getting the same thing again this year. So I'm gonna have to reassess all of that next year. There's a red mushroom pepper. I'm gonna grab this one because the one that I ate last night, I took it when it was like this and it did perfectly fine. So before any bugs get it, I'm gonna take this one too. And then of course we got some jalapenos, which is always nice to get. And it looks like we got a bug. You know, I kind of crack up when the bugs get into it, and maybe it doesn't bother them, because I know for chickens, the heat doesn't bother them. But I kind of wonder if the bugs, when they start biting in, if they're like, we should not have eaten this because this is super hot. I'm just thinking out loud. That's kind of where my brain goes. Look at that cutie pie. I love these little yellow jalapenos, you guys. They just make things fun. They're so pretty. All right, let's take a peek at the peppers in here, because honestly, I thought for sure these were goners because of the pest pressure. And boy, was I proven wrong, because look at how beautiful these are. So this is a Jimmy Nardella. I'll leave this one to turn red. And let me see, which one is this? This is the Napoleon. This one is the Napoleon. Napoleon's not growing too good here, but you know what? We're gonna take this one just so that, you know, because it's turning red, so we'll take this one. I want to point something out. So do you see this little bag? I think that might be a 3-gallon grow bag. I want you to look at all of the peppers. There's a gnat right in my face. Okay. Do you see all those peppers? You guys, look at that. That's a 3-gallon grow bag, and all of those peppers are growing. That's super exciting. So this is the Napoleon Sweet, and I'm tempted to take the 2 large ones off and see if they just change color, because this one's still kind of small. All right, the gnats are really liking me today, you guys, because they're like literally flying in my face today. So let's go ahead and take this one and this one. All right, this one is also the red cayenne pepper. You can see it definitely needs some water. I actually need to get out here and water these, but we can grab this one. And then you can see there's a lot more peppers on here. I need to get out here and water it. You can tell because the leaves are very droopy. But look at this little red cayenne. Super cute. And of course, more serranos. Yes, please. I will take those. Friends, look at this other plant. So this is another Napoleon sweet because I didn't have anywhere to put them. This is growing beautifully. I'm hoping that in the next couple weeks we'll have more peppers to harvest together. Here's my other mullein. I don't show this enough, but it's over here by the peppers. I'll take you. This is the Santa Fe Grande. This is the other part of the side view of my garden. You can see, by the way, there's nothing to harvest back here, but all of those green beans that I planted a few weeks ago, they're all bushing, most of them. Some didn't germinate, but most of them are bushing, and I'm so happy. We will definitely be harvesting back there in the next couple of weeks. Now let's look at all of the green beans and some of the cucumbers. There's really not a whole lot and totally to be expected, especially this time of the year. But I want to go ahead and continue to harvest the green beans out of these two beds. And then I do have some, I think I have some in these two bags right here. And this big plant is actually my lemon balm that's growing out of the ground. I have so much stuff growing out of the ground. I have so much Tulsi holy basil over there, a big old Tulsi holy basil over there. And this has been the year of learning a lot about plants growing out of the ground for me. And it's been really fun to watch and learn from. Something I want to point out, friends, so if you ever want to save seed from your green beans, you want them to look like this. Now I'm kind of surprised that this is still growing green beans that I can harvest, and then there's a dry one here, but typically this is what happens. You want it to dry out just like this, and then what you do is you just crack it open and the seeds are in there. Let me open this and show you. Hopefully there's some dry seeds in here. All right, so hopefully you can see that. This one was a small one, so there's only one bean, but that's actually what a Maxibel green bean or a seed looks like anyways. Let me get that focused. Hopefully you can see that, you guys. And that's how I personally save seed from my green beans as well as my sweet peas, and it's really that easy. So if you're done harvesting, you could always just leave the leftover green beans and then let them dry up and pick the seed. It saves a lot of money in the long run. Something I want to point out, even though this looks kind of dead, green beans, I don't know what it is with bush green beans. There's a bunch of new ones back there, but I always just let them be until they're completely dead, because sometimes what they do is even, see for instance, this is an example. Even though this plant looks kind of dead, new green beans will just start to grow. So I kind of just let this, you can see there's even more right here. I just let them stay in here and ride it out the entire season, and then pull them out around the fall time. I just want to show this to you. Look at all the green beans on here, and look at how beautiful this purple color is. This is gorgeous. This is the purple dove. What a beautiful name for such a beautiful bean. So I'm going to go ahead and harvest these. Look at how much they're growing. So let's go ahead and harvest them. I found some dry purple dove. I'm just going to let this dry out even more in the garage and save seed. And you know what? I've left these onions in here on purpose to just harvest and kind of see how it goes. I love getting little onions. You guys, this has kind of worked for me. I know this is not really what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to harvest this probably about a month or two ago, but I had the idea of just leaving them in here and then harvesting once in a while just to have a small onion on hand, because sometimes I don't want a really large onion in the kitchen. And so I'm like, you know what, let me try this. So I'm gonna grab one and harvest it. All right, here's a few other ones. This one has also the red swan bushtail, or red swan bush. This color is just so pretty. I'm really enjoying it. So I'm probably going to be growing these again next year. These are the opera bush, and there was actually some dry ones on there, so I'm going to try to save seed from that as well. I want to quickly mention the cucumbers before we go over there and get some more green beans, because there's obviously, you can see there's not a whole lot going on. They look really dead. But here's what I do want to say that I've noticed with cucumbers is sometimes some new vines will grow off vines that absolutely look dead. Now, this one's not going to do nothing. I'm just going to take you off. But you can see I've got one growing down here. I have one right here. I also have one over there, which actually I just got something on my shirt. I don't know what that was. But I am going to take this one because it looks like the bugs got to it. And you can see, yeah, the bugs got to that one. I probably will end up not keeping this, but I always like to check and see, even if it's just the end piece that I keep. But I do want to mention that because even up there you can see there's some new growth, and there's some on the other side. Sometimes, even though it looks dead, in my mind, the way I view it is I've worked really hard to get these cucumbers going. So you can see a new vine right there too. And I figured the only thing that's going to be going here are snap peas, and they're getting established. So I'm going to try my hardest to get as many cucumbers as possible. Now, of course, some of them are starting to get bitter. It's just going to happen at this time of the year. I have gotten some bitter ones. Some haven't been bitter. I will point out again, the ones that I grow here, the Piccolini Poniente F1 and the Katrina F1, I rarely ever have I ever gotten a bitter one of those cucumbers, which is why I'm now going to start growing those every year. But I just want to point that out, because if you don't need the space to grow anything and your cucumbers are in there, you may want to try to leave them in and see if you get just a few more before the season is over. And this tomato plant is going really strong. I'm not going to harvest anything right now because I want to show the rest of the garden, but I'm still very impressed with this growing out of the ground, you guys. All right, I'm going to go ahead now and harvest whatever green beans are on this side. I also have some in my GREENSTALK too. I did harvest a few already, but I want to make sure that I keep harvesting these so that they can keep producing. Now, what's really exciting, because I feel like these beds did pretty good, but they did get hit really hard with the heat. So I feel like the fact that I even got as many as I have the last 2 or 3 garden tours, I'm very grateful for. But I'm super excited with the amount that is growing back there, because not only do I have green beans growing back here, but I have a lot in the GREENSTALK as well as the starts that I have in the garage. So a lot of my tomato plants, you can see they're looking like they're just done, but because a lot of the tops are still growing, my plan is just to let these continue to grow as much as possible. Now, I will say there's quite a bit of bug pressure, and that's been kind of annoying. But as far as when I plan to actually pull all of these out, I noticed that, by the way, I just want to mention something. I think these are the striped Romas. I noticed that those split on me very easily, so I don't think I'm going to be doing those again next year. With that being said, though, I might just let these ride out for a while until I figure out what I want to put in here, and just try to harvest as many tomatoes as possible. So what I'm going to do right now is just harvest all of the tomatoes, because there isn't a ton, and then I want to show you the cantaloupe and some of the grow bags with the cucumbers in them. Real quick, friends, I just want to tell you, unless you are not switching your garden over to the fall and you can hang on to a couple of your tomato plants or cucumber plants or even some bush and green beans, I highly encourage you to, because I'm noticing so many flowers and blooms, and while there are some pest pressure issues that I'm dealing with, I do think that I'm going to get some more tomatoes. And you could always harvest your tomatoes when they're green and let them ripen in the house. That way, if you're looking to get more tomatoes or cucumbers out of your garden, leave them in there and just see if you can get some more before the summer garden is completely done. All right, so I just want to mention something about these two beds. So I went around and grabbed any and all tomatoes from all the beds that I have tomatoes, as well as these two pallets, and then my grow bags back there that have a bunch of tomatoes. And I don't think the two pallets back there, I didn't check actually, I don't think there's any tomatoes on there at all. But something I do want to mention with regards to these two beds. So you can see these are my tallest beds because of the sunflowers right here and the Kentucky Wonder green beans. They have just gotten wild. So this is my San Marzano and my Martina Roma plum tomatoes. This is more than likely going to be the last two beds that I pull apart because there is so many green beans and tomatoes that are still growing. What I plan to do is probably add to this video of me harvesting some of the green beans. It might be too dark for you to see, it probably is. There are so many green beans dangling that not even my little two-step ladder over there, over there, can get to them. I'm gonna have to bust out the ladder. So I'll probably do that tomorrow and then insert a clip of how much I actually harvested. Right now I couldn't help myself. I did harvest a couple of the Kentucky Wonder green beans right here just because they were dangling right in front of me. And this is a prime example of if you ever have Japanese beetle issues, because I had major Japanese beetle issues on these Kentucky Wonder green beans in the middle of this trellis right here. You probably can't see it because it's just covered. And 2 years in a row, you guys, they decimated the leaves, and it always comes back when the Japanese beetles leaves. And now I'm getting an abundance of Kentucky Wonder green beans. So I just share that just in case you did deal with pest pressure issues with your plants. Sometimes just leave them be, let the pests have their little cycle, let them be gone, and then you'll see sometimes plants just bounce right back. By the way, you guys, I just had to show you these zinnias. So this color is new for me this year, and it is the most beautiful peachy apricot looking color I have ever grown. And I am just absolutely in love with this color. It is so beautiful, so peaceful. I just had to show you real quick. All right, so before I end the video and I show you the harvest, I do want to quickly show you, look at the lawn, you guys. It's all nicely mowed and trimmed. I'm so happy. This makes me happy right here. I love having clean, I'll call it clean chaos, right? Because this is chaos, all the plants up there, but it's nice and clean because I cleaned everything, and that just makes me so happy. I should probably have a separate channel of just organizing my home, because if you all saw my home, like, it's completely organized. Anyways, you can tell I did move some stuff around. So I left just the bags with the trellises minus that one bag with the zinnias. I just left these here while I put all the zinnias over here against the stairs because they were just falling over and it was driving me bonkers. So I put those here for now. I might rethink about where I put the zinnias next year because they are such a beautiful flower. Look at this, you guys. Look at how beautiful that color is. Isn't that gorgeous? So I might have to rethink what I'm going to do with these next year. I don't think I want to put them in the grow bags. Not that there was anything wrong with them. It's just they fall over and I didn't want them to fall over. So I moved these over here. And then I do want to mention some of these cucumbers are actually still growing. Now they are getting some pest pressure for sure, but I have been harvesting a few. I'm kind of wondering if I see, look at that. It got it. Do you see that? Little boogers. You know what? I'm just going to take this one before they do because that just gets me irritated. But I do have another one there growing. So let's go. Okay, sorry. There was a bee that wouldn't leave me alone and I didn't get it on camera. I kind of screeched. I would have kept it if I had recorded it, but Yeah, so I don't know if you can hear them. All right, so we got this one at least, so that's good. And then you can see there's more growing right here. I'm actually very tempted to just take this one because I don't want the bugs to get it. But here's what I'm noticing. I'm noticing a lot of these are now growing cucumbers, which makes me really happy. So I'm hoping that I can get a couple of cucumbers out of these versus the one on the trellis. And I didn't get a chance to show you the one out of the ground that's growing. I did clean it up a lot. I might get a few more from them. I'm just not sure. But these right here make me really happy because I'm starting to see a few cucumbers come in on these plants. And then over here by the cherry tomato trellis, you can see there's a few more growing, but it's about done here. Some of the tops are still growing, but this is where I plan to put all of the snap peas. And I'm so excited to try these because this trellis is actually made for snap peas. And of course I used it for the cherry tomatoes to try them out. And I really, like I said, I do like it for the cherry tomatoes and I plan to do this again next year. But just to let you know, this is where the snap peas are going to be going. I think there are some green beans in here, but I'm going to harvest those later. And then you guys, the peppers are still doing very good in these bags. I'm not going to harvest right now because I want to give you, or I want to share with you what I plan to do with this garden so that you know what's going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks as we have our garden tours and harvest. Now, I'm not really sure what I'll put in here. I think once the start to grow more and I see what I actually have, like my inventory, that's when I'll probably be pulling more stuff out. But I do have things in mind that I am going to be pulling out for sure. Some of the buckets over there on the right hand side, not where the jicama is, I will be pulling a lot of that stuff out, and maybe even these bags on these 2 pallets as well. And then something I want to show you before I completely finish is, do you see this new vine? So this is the cantaloupe. This one right here by far did the best for me this year. This was my, which one? Sweet Passion. I think did by far the best for me. I really thought for sure this was dead, and now there's new growth. So there's a possibility I might be able to get another cantaloupe, and you can see there's even more new growth right here. Now this one, I'm kind of waiting for it to just fall off. I can't wait to try this. I didn't even think I was gonna get one at all. I think this one is the Golden Honeymoon, so I'm looking forward to trying this one. And then there's another one that is growing again. So I had 2 of these, you guys. One, it busted open. I think that's because there was a lot of rain, and then the other one, it disappeared. Don't know where it went, but it disappeared. So I'm hoping I can get at least another cantaloupe, or at least at the very least wait for this one to grow more and this one to fall off the vine so that I can get some more cantaloupe. And I keep forgetting about this plant. This is my overwinter pepper plant. These are my poblanos, and I keep forgetting about these. So let's harvest these real quick too. And as far as back here, I have shared what I plan to do with the green beans. So once those get harvested, I will put some cool weather crops in there. And then I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these last 2 pallets. These have a lot of plum tomatoes. Usually what happens, you guys, I'm going to walk slowly because this is where the rattlesnake, and by the way, one of my viewers, Tanya, thank you Tanya, told me that the rattlesnake was a timber rattlesnake, which is more poisonous than, I guess, a typical rattlesnake, which is very scary. But I do plan, like I said, once I harvest from these, my plan is to put cool weather crops in. But here's what I was going to say. Sorry, I get sidetracked very easily. Is that sometimes I will have an idea or a plan in my head, and then I'll come out here, I'll observe the garden, and then I'll say, nope, scratch it, and I'll just start ripping stuff out and then planting things. That's just how my brain works. Sometimes I will plan something and then I'll do it exactly how I plan it. And like I said, other times I will change my mind. Now I do want to mention that beautiful gourd that I had growing, it came off, and I will insert a picture of it right now. Some of it, you guys, got eaten a little bit at the top, but I think most of it got salvaged, thank goodness. And so I do plan to use it. I just got to look up how to use gourds, whether it's edible. I know sometimes gourds, when they're too hard or like too far gone, they're not edible. So I'm gonna have to look that up, but I do want you to know that I did harvest that. The loofahs, you guys, very disappointed this year. I got nothing from the loofahs. You can see the vining right there. I'm just gonna try again next year because I don't like to give up easily. And then these right here are the buckets that I said that I'm probably gonna rip out. I do have some tomato plants that are growing, but I'm more than likely going to be ripping a lot of these out and sticking some things in there. Like I said, it just depends on how the garden's doing at a certain point of the season. If I see a lot of stuff that's dead, I'm just gonna rip them out. Like for instance, a lot of these cucumbers right here, you can see that they're just, yeah, they're done. And I don't think 2-gallon grow bags is a good idea for them. Although I know this is new soil, so knowing me, I might try to do it again next year, maybe 1 or 2 bags. And then of course the jicama is doing really, really good in here as well with the buckets. I can't wait to harvest those with you because I think these are really hands-off type of veggies. And then I did clean up over here, you guys. It was really, really messy, but I still have 2 watermelons. I don't know if I'm going to harvest them or just kind of leave them there and see. More than likely I might harvest them. Now I do plan to insert a quick picture with the watermelon that I did harvest a while back. It's been sitting in my fridge, and I am going to show you a picture of that real quick so you can see how that was. All right, friends, here is the orange glow watermelon that I recently harvested, and I wanted to show you how it looked after cutting it. And you guys, I couldn't be more excited. Even though the inside was a little bit slimy, for the most part, the texture of the watermelon was really good. It wasn't as sweet. So what I ended up doing was scooping out all the seeds to save them. And then I took everything out of the watermelon and chopped them up in small little pieces. And then I just went ahead and made a watermelon smoothie, added just a little bit of sugar because there wasn't as much sweetness, and it was absolutely delicious. I cannot wait to grow this next year. All right, friends, I am adding this into the video. So I told you if I was going to come out here and harvest the Kentucky Wonders out of this wild jungle, well, it's not a jungle, but it's my little mini wild jungle, that I would share it with you all in the video. So I just want to give you a quick peek at how tall that is. It is super tall. I know my little 2-step ladder isn't going to do, it's not going to do it for me. I'm going to have to bust out the ladder like I said. But I'm gonna go in here and I am just going to pick as many Kentucky Wonders. So you can see they're just everywhere, you guys. So I'm gonna get in here and I'll show you what I get at the end. Real quick, I do wanna show this to you and I don't wanna forget. I have a massive Tulsi Holy basil growing out of the ground. It's really big. And so I just harvested just a little bit just to make some tea. It's really nice to have this just growing out of the ground, and just to come over and snip a few pieces off has been really nice. But I wanted to just quickly show you, I have this growing out of the ground in a lot of spots in the garden, but this one by far is the largest one, and it is absolutely beautiful. All right, I got on that ladder. You guys, there are so many green beans, and I would take the camera up there, but it's yeah, it's a little scary for me to be all the way up there and not have somebody spot me. But there is so many. I don't know if you can see all of those little buds there, but I have a feeling we're going to be harvesting from these probably the next couple of weeks, at least until the frost. But I am really excited. Let me show you. So far, that's what I have, and there's still some more. So I'm going to keep on harvesting. All right, I got up here. I did it, you guys, because I really want to show you. Look at all of these. You can see all the green beans in there. So I got to dig in there. I just wanted to come up here and show you. I wasn't going to, but I'm like, you know what? This is too pretty not to show you all. So, all right, I'm going to keep harvesting. I'm getting a little braver here. So I'm right in the middle of the bed. I don't know if you can tell right here. Anyways, I just wanted to show you because these are the 2 sunflowers that I had growing at the corners. And what I love about putting the sunflowers in the corners is how much the green beans seem to wrap themselves. You can see they just start to grow off the sunflower. That one seemed to have got kind of, well, there's a little yellow one right back there. I don't know how much it's going to bloom, but I did want to show you. Do you see all the tomato tops? So this is probably why, like I said, I'm going to be taking everything out of these beds, I don't know, last. And the reason I'm going to be taking them out last is for the fact that I have a lot of green beans that are still growing, but a lot of these tomato tops are, I don't know if you can see those little flowers on there. Maybe not because, well, maybe a little bit, like right here. So, and these are my favorite tomatoes in these two beds. So this is why I'm going to do these two. Like I'm going to pull these two beds last, but I just want to quickly show you because you guys, this is so pretty and I'm so happy that I'm getting a lot of green beans. All right, here's a close up now. I'm on the other side so you can see how high this is. And I already harvested a few green beans. You can see there's still some more right there. But you could probably now see the little flower buds that I was talking about. So hopefully we'll get some more tomatoes. That's what I'm hoping for, which is why I'm not pulling out all of my tomato plants. And I'm leaving other spots in the garden for the fall starts. But I just wanted to quickly show you this angle too. All right, so here are all the Kentucky winter green beans that I harvested. There's a lot, and you guys, there's still a whole lot more that we're gonna be harvesting in the weeks to come because I saw a lot of flower buds, but I just wanted to quickly show you. And then I did find a few that were dried out, and this is great for saving seed. I've saved Kentucky winter seeds for the last couple of years and they germinate beautifully. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get a few more of the green beans from the other bags, but I just wanted to show you the Kentucky Wonders and I'm super excited we're finally getting some. Here's the rest of the green beans that I harvested from some of the bags. There's actually more. And then I did start some green beans as you saw in the beginning of the video that I'll probably put in place of the bags. And then I went ahead and I grabbed a few more tomatoes, the green ones that were blushing because the bugs are starting to get to them. In fact, I did get a few peppers. You can see one of the bugs got to this one. So this one's probably not good. So I need to start harvesting a little bit more often, even if they're not turning red or blushing because the bugs are getting them. So, but overall, nice little harvest.
I also wanted to add this in there. These were the Zebroon shallots that I started from seed. I was so excited to harvest these. They were so delicious. I will leave the name of it on the screen right now in case you want to get their seed and start it yourself, but I will for sure be growing this again next year.
All right, friends, I'm including this in my weekly garden tour because as I've always said, I want to show you everything that I'm harvesting even during the week and add it to my weekly garden tour and harvest videos. But I went outside to clean up because we had a really good rainstorm yesterday. And as I was cleaning up the branches and picking stuff up, this is what I was able to harvest. We have another cantaloupe, you guys. This is my first year growing cantaloupes and I'm super excited about this. So I think it's supposed to be probably a smidgen bigger, but either way, for my first time, I'm really happy. And then this is just a little baby shallot, some aromas, a pepper, mini cucumber. I don't know how good that's going to taste. Some green beans. There was a lot more green beans out there, but I'm going to grab them another time. And then some really nice sized sandwiches. Listen to me, really nice sized tomatoes. And then just a couple of cherry tomatoes and kind of smaller, medium sized tomatoes. So just want to show you what I harvested today when I went outside and cleaned.
And here's that cantaloupe cut up. It wasn't as sweet as the previous cantaloupe that I harvested, but nonetheless, friends, it was still delicious and I cannot wait to grow these again next year.
All right, friends, I ended the video at just the right time before it got completely dark and you can't see me anymore, but hopefully you got to get an idea of what's going on in my garden and what I plan to do in the coming weeks. There's still a lot of stuff that's growing, but at the same time, it is dying on me. And because I put so much work into my summer garden, I'm trying to squeeze out as much as I can, but then also transition for the fall garden so that I can get something from the fall as well. But let's go ahead and see what we harvested today. All right, so I am very happy. I'm always happy with the pepper harvest this year. I'm very grateful that every week it's been something like a little bit at a time. So we got a really good variety of hot peppers and sweet peppers as well as some bell peppers. So that makes me really happy. Hopefully you can see that because I know I'm starting to kind of lose a little bit of lighting here. Let's see, I'll just put my face into focus, but this is a really good tray of peppers and I'm very excited, like I said, to have these because for me, when it comes to peppers, I want to have just like cucumbers. I want to have a steady flow of peppers and cucumbers weekly, which is what I've accomplished this summer. I'm very grateful for. Now, next summer, I might take it up a notch where I plant more peppers so I can get large amounts and do something and preserve them. Right now, what I'm actually doing, I'm getting more peppers than I actually really need. So what I've been doing is preserving them in the freeze dryer so that I can use them throughout the winter. And then we have our plum tomatoes. I'm starting to lose focus. Plum tomatoes, our cherry tomatoes, as well as some cucumbers and some large tomatoes. So overall, very happy with the harvest. And I actually forgot to show all of the green beans. I did harvest a couple of onions as well, but I will insert another clip of me harvesting a bunch of the green beans on that trellis back there. I am very happy to see that we've been getting more of these, but just wanted to quickly show you the full harvest of the green beans from today's harvest. So friends, I really appreciate you all coming by, and I look forward to these garden tours and harvest every week, even during the winter time. And just to reiterate, the reason I do this every week throughout the year is I want to convey how much you can actually grow in your backyard and how much you can actually harvest, whether it's large harvests or something even really small, that there's always something to look forward to in the garden. I appreciate every single one of you, and I really look forward to seeing you guys next time. And always remember, friends, be encouraged, stay encouraged, and always stay inspired. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.